Aloha, good morning. Hope everyone's had a wonderful week this week and enjoying the wonderful weather, and as summer nears an end here for the kids going back to school, but I hope every day is as good as when we first started the summer vacation for parents and the children, of course. Anyway, today I'm really excited to have Jim back, Jim Schmit, award-winning architect of over 600 homes and 47 years in the business, Jim.
You know, I just figured it out. It's a little bit more than that.
Oh, really?
Next year in February will be my 49th anniversary of being in business for myself.
Oh my God.
Not even counting the people I worked for before that.
Wow.
For school.
It's amazing, amazing. And, you know, and Jim's been through ups and downs in, you know, the architectural business, the building business, you know, and of course what's going on with the economy over the last 49 years, let's say. But so today we thought we'd title today's talk Optimism, which is very interesting because I know there's so many rules and costs that people are getting very surprised as they go to build their home. So Jim, how do we stay optimistic through all these, you know, prices going up, the building department maybe taking a little longer than we like?
Well, there's nothing like having gone through several cycles on the roller coaster, you know, and I think we're coming up on the part now where we're going, whoa, we'll be shooting down towards the fun part. So that's optimism.
Okay.
And I find that when everything is fun and everything is easy and everything is going well, you don't need optimism.
Sure.
And people cease to even think of themselves as optimistic.
I like that.
But times like now, I am an optimist in all aspects of life.
How nice.
And
yes,
and it is nice, and it's a choice you have. You know, you can be depressed about everything, or you can be optimistic about it.
I like that. I can use that in my business.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, because sometimes I get caught up in all the drama of what's going on in the economy and clients trying to make the right decision, of course. And if I keep the word optimistic,
that's right. And then that leads you into other things, like for instance, the building department is typically not a point of optimism for most people.
Okay.
But I find that if I focus on the people I know in the building department who are doing a good job,
yes,
and they're a lot of them have retired or died in recent years, and so we don't have a lot of people who really know what they're doing anymore. But I know that there are people there who can teach the ones who are coming in new.
Sure.
And I'm optimistic.
Okay.
That they will regain the level that they were at a few years ago. Yes. Even though it's really difficult now because there's so many things happening with, you know, the various legal aspects of things, and you know, it's just like the building department's got its hands full. Yes. But and the problems with permitting, but that in particular I'm optimistic about because I've got way too many houses in permit to have it not be good.
Okay. So the building department, I keep hearing that is it a year now, the building permits for some houses?
Well, you know, we just picked one up 2 days ago.
Okay.
We were notified that it was ready to pick up.
Okay.
And it was the last paper product that you could submit.
Oh wow.
And they went all electronic filing in December.
Okay.
So I submitted my last paper set on December 30th.
Okay.
31st was, I think, a weekend. So
okay.
The 30th was the latest that I could possibly submit it. And we got it back.
Yes.
And we got it approved. And that was after a bunch of ridiculous things that they're doing.
Okay.
But it's a sign that there will be more coming.
Right.
You know? And you know, they really don't know what they're doing this for. Because they don't look towards what they call unintended consequences.
Okay.
And you know, I'm a result of unintended consequences. You know, that's how I don't expect things, and when they come up, you have to deal with them.
Okay.
And we do deal with them.
Yes.
And it's fun.
Yes.
It's fun. It's nice to be challenged, and it's nice to be optimistic about it.
Absolutely. And I think I read a saying once, something about, you know, when, you know, obstacles are in front of you, there's opportunities as well.
Oh, that's right. That's exactly right. Yeah. And there are lots of opportunities.
And that's why you
And-
stay so positive all these years and
Yeah, I think
sense of
so.
humor.
Well, that helps.
And then what are we going to do about all the pricing? Every time.
Well, see, that's the next thing that goes
Yeah.
along with it.
Yeah.
Now you've got there's a couple of things happening, like people have been getting ridiculous amounts of money by selling their houses because the
Certainly.
market was low
Yes.
and the interest rates were low, and
Yeah.
and people sold houses for $1 million more than they paid for them less than a year ago.
Oh, I know.
And that's good news. Well,
Yes.
now interest rates are not quite so good, although I think they're saying 5% for a 30-year.
No, they actually just went down.
Yeah,
I
it
saw
did.
something come
No, but I
through.
don't think it's below 5 yet.
4.25.
Really?
That's what
Wow.
people don't realize, that it all jumped up a lot, but now I believe at the end of this week, it went down to about 4.25 with 2.5 points. So again, optimism, and it's interesting when the market started, when the interest rates started to go up, we were reading the economic forecast, and one of it was that the rates will probably go down, but they'll still might jump up again. And I've definitely seen an influx of buyers in the last week or two because the rates are a little more approachable than they were.
Well, I have a point of view on that that's a little bit different.
Okay.
Again, when I bought my first townhouse 50 years ago,
Yeah.
my interest rate was 8 3/4,
Okay.
which I thought was fabulous because it had been over 10 for a while.
Yes.
And I got it at 8 3/4. And then when I built my first house, my last house and my first house, the same one,
Yeah.
a house for myself, let's put it that way. I built that, I went with an arm.
Oh, okay.
Now that was almost exactly 30 years ago.
Yes.
And I had an arm that was like 4%
Yes.
when everything else that was around me was like 8.
Yeah.
And I thought that was great. And they warned me, well, it could go up, but it had a limit. And in 30 years, it never went up.
Yeah.
It went up imperceptibly because the bank paid my mortgage out of a set fund. What do you call that? Escrow.
Escrow.
Right.
Yes.
And so I never really knew what the interest rate was, but I knew if I could afford it or if I couldn't afford it.
Yeah.
And it was always affordable, and that worked fine.
Yes.
Now, when my first townhouse that I mentioned, I had an 8 3/4 mortgage on.
Yes.
That building had some serious termite damage,
Okay.
and they had to basically rebuild the whole thing.
Yeah.
And everybody had to get a second mortgage to pay for their assessment for that.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And my second mortgage was more expensive than my first mortgage.
Yeah.
And it was at 20%.
Oh, 20%.
I don't know if any of you
Oh, my
remember
God.
when interest rates were 20%, but they were.
Wow.
And I had a second mortgage that I paid more monthly than I did on my first mortgage.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
But
So
with the cost of,
consequently,
yeah.
in the big picture, it has nothing to do with reality.
Yeah.
I mean, so you're going to do something, maybe not what you planned on doing, but you're going to do something.
You find a way around it.
And ultimately there will be a pot at the end of the rainbow.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's like, again, I read something just recently. It seems like all these sayings are coming to me, focus on the goal, not the obstacles.
Oh yeah, right.
So
That's
always focus on your goal. It's so important because it's like just one obstacle after the another, but just focus on that goal and how committed you are, whether it's building a home, buying your dream home, whatever it might be.
I just got a picture texted to me from a contractor who's working on one of my jobs for people who moved into their house. And the celebration was because the last piece of plywood that was blocking the window that never got delivered was taken out and the window was put in.
No.
So,
just to sort of wrap our optimism, to be optimistic, how would you say if somebody wants to go about and remodel or rebuild, what's the first action they should do?
Oh boy, what's the first thing they should do? Well, I guess they have to decide what it is they really want.
Okay.
That's a good target. What do you really want? And sometimes that's not as easy.
Yeah.
Because if what you really want is a profit in 5 years, as opposed to enjoying 5 years.
Correct.
It's a different goal.
Exactly.
Not that you can't have both, but if it's not your plan to have both, you probably won't.
Yeah.
I think you have to plan for it, and then you'll accomplish it. If you don't plan for it, it's just not going to just happen.
Exactly.
Right.
You have to plan for it.
Yeah.
And just the other week we had land and construction loans on, and people could be know a little bit about that mortgage business. And sometimes just the fear of not knowing stops people moving forward.
Yeah, that's true.
So again, I love bringing all these resources to everyone, our audience, and we have an incredible list of vendors too. And, you know, if you have questions on building, please reach out to Jim. We'll put his details here at the end of our talk. And before we go, we always do our photos from Marianne, of course. And this week is called, is sharing landmarks, of course, in on the shoreline here. And of course, Diamond Head Crater. It's one of the most, you know, icon landmarks on Oahu.
And in the world, actually.
In the world, yeah. Yep. And also the Diamond Head Lighthouse. And just to revisit that, that was built in 1917 and it was placed in the National Register of Historical Places in 2007. And it's maintained by the US Coast Guard.
And can I give you an incident?
Sure.
Interesting thing. So that is where the finish of the Transpac yacht race is.
Neat.
And that's a boat going by at the finish right
I
there.
see.
And you actually, well, those of us who are finishing the boats,
yes,
go up on that little balcony up there underneath the lens and
nice.
And watch them through a little telescope.
Oh,
and,
so they let you up there.
Oh yeah, well, they're very good about it. It's,
okay.
It's, you know, it's the Admiral's house, and we're on our best behavior.
Of course.
Sailors, you know, up on the lighthouse, this recipe for disaster. But
and there's a famous coastline, the Diamond Head coastline. Doris Duke's estate's right there. You see with the white. How would you describe that architecture? The white pillars.
Oh, it's Eastern of some type. I forget what.
That's right.
Yeah,
Turkish, right?
Turkish, yeah, probably Middle Eastern.
Middle Eastern. And of course the Kahala Beach apartments, which is gorgeous. And you know, we do a lot of property management there. And
well, it's still leasehold, right?
I think 5 or 6 years.
Yeah, left on the lease.
Yeah, only 5 or 6 years, but people are buying it because you know what my clients have enjoyed over there is in going to the Kahala Hilton.
Oh yeah,
not Kahala, it's the Kahala Hotel.
Well, we know the Kahala Hilton.
I know that was years ago. The Kahala Hotel, enjoying the restaurants there and being able to walk and play golf, of course. The wildlife, you're fortunate enough to be a member or know someone, but great lifestyle in that area.
Yeah,
it's probably one of the best actually. Anyway, on that note, we'll say have a great weekend.
I'll be back.
Yep. Okay, sounds wonderful. And thanks for joining us today.
Okay.
Much aloha.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Thank you, Caron.